Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV. In the new episode of our online interviews, we want to get an update from Ally Metal, and also we want to talk the first time to Srini Godavarthy, who is the new CEO on the new role of the CEO at Ally Metal. Welcome, and how are you, Srini?
Hey, doing good, and thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. That's great. I'm a shareholder of the company. I should say that upfront. Yeah, so you have taken over the role of the CEO, and now Maciej, whom I interviewed several times, is the CTO. So maybe you can give us a short idea for our viewers. Why do you think you are fine for the CEO role? What have you done before? I went through the presentation. I saw you were with Albemarle and several other great companies. So it looks like that you have already a lot of experience.
Just to give you a background, right? Li Metal is a technology company, right? We thrive in the battery space through our innovation. With that respect, most of our management team are engineers, and majority of our company are engineers, including me. I have a PhD in chemical engineering by training and spent about 23 years now in the industry. It's split equally, right? I was not always a green chemicals battery guy. My first 10 years of my career were in oil and gas, and now the second half of my career has been supporting alternate energy and battery technology. Like you mentioned, I spent about 5+ years with a company called Albemarle, which is recognized as one of the leaders in the lithium space. I ran their lithium metals, metal salts, and the anodes business. For a good 2 years, I was the global business director responsible for lithium chloride, responsible
Okay.
for lithium metal, and production of metal anodes. The only difference is that we used to make those anodes by extrusion, right? Which is the incumbent technology that Li Metal is trying to replace with our vapor deposition and ultra thin anodes. So, from a knowledge market perspective, it fit very well when they were looking for a CEO that I come in and take the role. For the people who are wondering why this change, right? We are accelerating. The market for anodes is now at that inflection point where we think in the next couple of years it's going to go commercial, which means that we need focus on the commercial side, but at the same time a lot of focus on our technology because we have to accelerate um, our efforts in this space. And that's why the split. Mache is an amazing technologist, so he decided that he wants to focus on technology. As he did that, he was struggling to focus on the commercial aspects of working with investors, making sure we fundraise so that we can support the capital needs of the company. So we decided that it would be good to split the responsibilities, with Mache completely focused on the technology and driving innovation, and me focused more towards the external facing efforts. And that way
Yeah.
we can really accelerate our growth.
Yeah, that's super. Not only accelerating, but focusing on each team member's speciality, I would call it. I think that makes definitely sense. That is fantastic. You said already the business is accelerating. I think also the battery technology is really accelerating. I saw already from the Chinese, for example, I think it's Lucid. They brought out a car with a mileage of over 1,000 kilometer reach. So I think your technology will play a big role there then in the future, right?
Yes, the key is how the technology is evolving, right? So I think in the previous time Mache talked to you, we talked about where our product goes into the next generation of batteries, right? The two or three key reasons why people are adopting the range of the car is one of them. The second is the safety aspects, and then the cost aspects. All three of these are really pushing the battery companies to evolve and identify newer technologies. And lithium metal and its products, in terms of ultra thin anodes, lithium anodes, play a very important part in this technology evolution. A new area has evolved for us, and which is very exciting and interesting, and that's accelerated our need and our efforts in the commercial space. While EVs are like the workhorse, right? So we want to be in every EV because that is where the real demand is. In the short term, what's happened is people have started looking at drone deliveries and e-taxis as well. And because of this market, not only the energy density per kilogram becomes important, but the energy density, the volumetric energy density becomes important, which means you have to shrink the size of the battery as well. And that is where our metal anodes have a huge impact, right? From what you mentioned, the range, where you can double the range, right? That is on a weight basis, you get about twice the energy density. But on a volume basis, with metal anodes, we can deliver about 3x the energy density. So it really shrinks the battery size substantially. So
Wow.
there are two evolving areas which are very exciting for us. Of course, EVs take a little bit longer, right? There is a 3 to 4 year qualification period for EVs before they go to large scale production, but drones are much faster. And the FAA is mandating these drones to replace batteries maybe every year or so, which means there's more demand for these batteries and drones. So once the FAA approves that end use, there will be a significant uptake. And we are preparing commercially to be able to service both the EV industry as well as the e-taxis and drone industry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, super. I mean, we had a lot of, yeah, let's say, market movements in the last 12 to 18 months. As Albemarle wants to merge with Livent. We just heard that Ford has done a 3 million, what is that, a 3 million ton lithium hydroxide deal for 3 million cars, etc. They can produce. We know Toyota, Prologium. A lot of OEMs are really on the hunt, I would say. How would those events, let's say, really touch on Ally Metal?
Sure.
Let's say also for the short term that you can really start to sell your product and generate income.
Yeah. So the way you got to think about this, just to correct you, right? Album. It was Livent which merged with
Uh,
Alchem,
yeah,
right? Not
so
Albemarle.
Alchem,
But
Alchem,
yeah,
sorry,
Alchem.
excuse me. Yeah.
But yes, there is a lot of activity happening both on the resource side and a lot of activity happening on the battery technology side as well. A key accelerator for us, which directly impacts us, is the thought process in the market was you have the current generation of technology, people will have to develop solid state electrolytes, and then people will start deploying metal anodes into the battery. What's happened is some of the players that you just mentioned have innovated in such a way that they've developed liquid electrolytes which will work with metal anodes, which is accelerating by 3 to 4 years the demand for metal anodes. What we thought will happen in 2030 now looks like will start scaling up in 26, 27, right? So there's a 3 to 4 year pull forward of this demand, which actually is helpful for us and it's scary at the same time, right? What we thought we had more runway to ramp up, now we have to do faster. We have to
Okay.
deploy capital faster to be able to meet the need in the market. And hence the change that you see in our strategy of, hey, focus on two people focusing from the management team on what needs to get delivered. uh, we continue to talk to a lot of the customers. Currently, we are in conversations with about 27 different customers in the market. About 12 of them have taken samples from us. Two are negotiating material transfer agreements. So soon we will sample two more. Of these 14 people, about two are now taking commercial samples. So just to look at the numbers, right? In the entire of 2021, we sold about 1,000 meters of anode. Uh, that increased to about 4,000 in 2022. Today, in a given week, in some weeks, we make more than 1,000 meters, right? What we made in a whole year, we are making in kind of like, and they're talking millions of meters in the future, right? So the ramp up is pretty steep. and there's substantial capex that needs to be deployed to service this ramp up, and we are negotiating different business models with various customers to be able to service them.
So that would mean like this year and next year, you already start to generate at least income. Do I get that right?
There will be income, but our costs are still substantially high, right? Because we are innovating and trying to scale
Of
up.
course.
We are trying to get to break even as quickly as possible, right? But once we ramp up into a half gigawatt of anode capability, we start getting into a profit kind of a situation. So the faster we can get to that half to 1 gigawatt of anode capability, we can cover most of our costs and then self fund our growth.
Okay. Okay, interesting. How does now that all fit together with that new partnership you have announced? I think the company is called Mustang Vacuum Systems in the US, if I'm correct.
Yes.
But what does that mean for you? Why is that important to do
Right.
that?
So let's talk about the business models, right? We have two products that we are offering to the market. One is lithium metal itself, and then the lithium metal anodes. Most of the battery customers, what they want is lithium metal anodes. These metal anodes do have a shelf life, right? You don't make the anodes and they don't last forever, right? So you make the anodes, you have to ship it to the battery producer, they will put it into their battery, and then they'll sell that battery. Once it's in the battery, then it'll last several years. Now you want to get it into the battery as quickly as possible. You want to make the battery as quickly as possible. Now, the challenge for most of these is whether to build that capability as a central capability somewhere and then ship the anodes, or build that capability right next door to where their gigafactory is. That's why I said we are working with different models for different people. What we are hearing from a lot of our customers is till they get to a scale where they build that gigafactory and start scaling up, they want us to produce these in a central location. But once we get to that scale, they really want to get to the plant to be built either on their fence line or the machine built in their own facility. That is where Mustang vacuum system comes in. Mustang vacuum system has know-how on how to build these vapor deposition machines. They have not done it for lithium, but they have done it with metals for other applications. What Li Metal brings is the know-how of how to do this for lithium anode production. And when you put the two together, a machine expert and an anode expert, then you are able to meet the needs of your customers, where you can build the machines, install the machines, service the machines effectively, and take the costs out of the process. In the end, adoption is all going to depend on how the costs work, right? So
And that's
you want
yeah. Sorry.
a low cost anode production, and this partnership will facilitate us to do that.
Super. And that would also mean, if I got that correct, that you can not only do it on your facility, you could also go to the large OEM, let's say to the Tesla factory in Nevada, and say, hey guys, here we are, we can help you out.
Yes. So what we call that,
Super.
there are two models there, right? We either build the anode right outside their fence line, which we operate for them and supply the anode, or if they prefer, then we can build the machine and the anode facility inside their plant that they manage, and we service as needed to make sure the anode that they're producing is the right quality.
Okay, super, great. I saw also you have been granted your first patent. What does that mean for the company, and what else is in the pipeline?
Look, non-dilutive funding of any kind is great for shareholders, right? We rather than raise more funds from shareholders and impact the valuation, any government funding that we can pick up is great. What you see are two of the announcements. We continue to work with the Canadian government for a lot more funding, both for our metal and our anode capabilities. What it means is a validation of our technology, right? You go through a lot of vetting process to make sure uh, there are other people who look at our patents, who look at our process, who look at our pilot to say, yes, this is something that is scalable, right? So we look at it more as a validation of our IP and validation of our technology, more so than it really changes our bottom line, right? 1.4 million provides us a little bit of breathing room, but not a whole lot, especially
Of
when you're
course.
trying to build a pilot and scale that pilot up.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right. No, but I mean, free money is always highly appreciated. But also with the patent, I understand it with the IP, that's protection. That is great. What other you have other patents still in the run applied for? Is there what is in the
Yes, there
pipeline
are
there?
33 patents totally that the team has filed. One has been granted, so there's 32 still in the works. These patents cover a range of capabilities from metal production, metal casting, metal alloying, which is becoming more and more important for some of our customers. Then it also covers how we make the anode, certain aspects of the anode machine itself and the design of the machine, which helps us get costs down. And of course, we have patents around layering of the anodes, which really give a performance advantage as well. So there are a lot of aspects that the technology team addresses, which are quite important for the differentiation in the market for us.
Okay, super. So next milestone for you, what would that be? The next two important milestones?
The
Sign
next big
contracts and make money.
that would be the biggest milestone for us,
Yeah.
is we are trying to get customer contracts in place which are more longer term, because a key for us is to build this commercial machine, right, which we plan to have in place and running early 2024. Based on the conversations we are having with multiple customers, they really start to ramp up late 24, early 25. And to do that, we need at least 6 months of time that our technology team can spend with this machine, debug and eliminate any challenges that we have, so that the machine is working very well, and then support the ramp up of our customers. So
Okay, super.
it's critical. The number one milestone for us that you should look out is the announcement that we have started the design and engineering of that machine, and the commissioning of the machine, and then of course commercial contracts being signed. A third key milestone for us is also on the metal side, right? We continue to progress our engineering study for a full scale plant. So we are hoping that sometime this year, late Q3, early Q4, we would be able to release the results from our engineering study. And then we also have a lot of interest from multiple partners who want to look at our metal technology and want to look at being a partner for scale up of that metal technology. So we are trying to identify who the right partner is, right? So
Okay.
those would be the key milestones on the metal side: the engineering study, and then
Yeah.
a strategic partner that we decide to move forward with.
Super. Last question. Do you have enough money to get that all done until, let's say, you are break even?
Look, we are a startup. We
Yeah, of course.
continue. I mean, all information is public. We have enough funds to provide us about 12 months of runway, but we are actively looking. Look, all these are capital intensive processes, right? That's why we continue to look for government and non-dilutive funds, but we are also talking to investors, and will continue to talk to investors to raise more capital, so we can guarantee another 24 months of runway, right? So, till we can get to cost break even or profitability. This is always a challenge. That's why I said it's a difficult challenge, right? As the market starts to accelerate,
Yeah.
you initially have to put substantial capex in, right? These are millions of tens of millions of dollars for building out this capability, and so we constantly look for investors who can come on board and support and provide us the runway. And so we
Of
are
course.
actively in discussions.
Would it be, let's say, a yeah, possibility for you to invest in the US to use funds of the IRA?
We have looked into working with DOE. We are talking to DARPA, which is the Defense
Yeah.
Department. The challenge with some of those is um, the DOE has funds which are $100+ million, right? We are not there yet. We are more in the $10 to $20 million of capex range while the market evolves, right? Maybe if we are 2027, we will be looking at that $100+ million range for capital investment to really build out that capability. But we continue to look for opportunities and continue those conversations for government funding, right? Whether it's on which we are agnostic to which side of the border they are on. We see North America building out this network, whether it's on the Canadian side or the US side. As you know, our anode facility is actually in Rochester. Our partner MUSTANG is in Florida. So we do have an equal presence, right? The metal
Yeah.
pilot is in Canada. So we do have an equal presence and split on either side of the border. And our customers are spread on either side of the border as well. So we are pretty agnostic where we build this. We see this servicing the entire North American battery network and eventually into Europe as well. So we are open, right? Where the funds come from, we are agnostic to it. And where the
Exactly. As long
investors
as it
come in, we
works.
are agnostic to it as
Yeah.
well.
Okay, super. Srini, thank you very much for the insight. Wow, 21 minutes, that's quite a long interview, but very interesting, I must say. And I have a good feeling that you guys made a lot of steps forward. And probably this year, next year, that would be your really breakthrough years, right?
We are hoping that 2024
Yeah.
really we have a few customers locked up in
Yeah.
contracts, and we can really start to accelerate our commercial manufacturing capabilities.
Fantastic. Super. Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Srini Godavarthy, the new role CEO of LI Metal. Yeah, you heard it. Forces are now combined and really concentrated. I like that a lot. And also the company is really moving forward, enlarging their production profile. They have started to generate the first revenue also, and they got the first patent also granted. So the IP is well protected now, and 33 more are in the process of the application, but also hopefully will be approved then soon. And I think the partnership with Mustang Vacuum Systems and all the other stuff they are doing, that really goes in the right direction. You guys should really have a look at LI Metal, because the technology is really outstanding and really leading, and it's for the next generation lithium-ion batteries. That's exactly what we need, because the car makers need to reach more mileage and higher reach with the batteries, and they have to be lighter. So I think LI Metal is in the right technique and industry working. And check it out. Thanks for watching us, and bye bye from Switzerland.